Range fans, coming to you from the reloading lair. Range fans, do you remember when I said this?
I got a hard decision to make. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Let's get it together and do this. So, I got to thinking, I think I'm gonna thin the herd. For those of you that might not be familiar, that means shedding some revolvers, at least in my case. Hence, Mr. Revolver guy. And I got to thinking, what would be the last revolver that I would get rid of in this thinning the herd? I also was sort of thinking through the process, right? I'm not gonna bore you with the process, but what I did come up with was, how would you determine which would be the last one you would get rid of? So what I ended up doing was kind of looking through them, and I said, you know what? I really like these. And these are the Smith Wesson mountain gun versions. Here's why. Because I feel I can carry them anywhere, and I feel like they will handle any situation that I'm liable to come across. Now, having said that, in the carry situation against two-legged predators, I don't go looking for a fight. As a matter of fact, I do everything I can to avoid them. I'm gonna run away, call me a yellow-bellied chicken, whatever you want to. But before I unsheath that thing from the leather, unholster that thing from the leather, I'm gonna do everything in my power just to avoid it. I don't need the headache, my family doesn't need the headache, and I don't want the headache. But in the spirit of fun, I thought it would be fun to determine what would I do. So what I'm gonna do today, I have two Smith & Wesson mountain guns, which I believe is my choice for anything that's capable. One is a mountain gun 29. That is a mountain gun that's in 44 Magnum, but it also shoots 44 Special. Then I have a mountain gun that's in 45 Colt. And by the way,
yes, I was going to thin the herd. One of them had to go. And then you all started down in the comments down below. No, keep both. 45 Colt, more versatile. 44 Magnum, more power. 45 Colt loaded to Ruger only loads, more power. All kinds of advice, which, by the way, I absolutely appreciate. Unfortunately, I am here to apologize because I let you down again. I didn't quite thin the herd. As a matter of fact, I added to the herd. That's right, I've added to the herd a Lipsey's exclusive 357 Magnum 686 plus. That's right, 7 shots of 357 Magnum mountain gun. Let's head on over to the bench and talk about it. All right, range fans, we're gonna give you a little bit of a tabletop of the Lipsey's exclusive 357 Magnum mountain gun. First and foremost, what makes this thing a mountain gun? You're looking at it. You're looking at it. The beauty and the lines. That's right. Let's take this thing out of here. Let's take this thing out of here and take a look at it. First and foremost, you can see the red disc is in there, so it is safe to talk about. This is what makes it a mountain gun. Can you guys see that? The tapering of the barrel here makes it a mountain gun because it makes it lighter. It is a larger frame, so this is built on the L frame. It is a larger frame model that is lighter by the tapering of the barrel. And if you pay close attention, like Smith & Wesson did, you'll see the ribs in the top of the barrel, which knocks down glare of the sunlight. It even tapers right along with the barrel. And you've got tapering on top of the rear sight as well. Speaking of sights, when we talk about this thing from the top to the bottom, there are the sights. You see that gold bead front dot? It sticks out like a sore thumb. And then you've got the rear micro adjustment dark black sight, and it is ribbed too, as I stated. Now let me show you something. Here is what the typical normal 686 looks like. This is that Beast 44 Magnum. You can see the front sight there. The partridge sight, it is ramped. That's what it looks like. And also, see that right there? The cylinder is squared off. Well, not on the Lipsey's exclusive. The Lipsey's exclusive, the cylinder is beveled. Now that beveling is supposed to help with putting this thing back into a beautiful leather holster. The other thing that makes this one pretty unique, check it out. You see that? It locks on the frame. Can I get that in picture? Right there. It locks on the frame, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Usually the ejector and the yoke here locks up front. And let me show you what I'm talking about. That makes this L-frame a tad bit stronger. So if you see here on the 44 mag, it locks up front in front of the crane there. The crane has a little hole in it there for that lock up front to grab onto, but not the Lipsey's exclusive. What else is unique about this thing? You guys tell me, come on. I'm waiting on you. Tell me. Man, thank goodness that Hillary hole is gone. There is no lock on the Lipsey's exclusive Smith Wesson 357 Magnum mountain gun. Now, Smith Wesson just recently started getting rid of those things, and I'm looking forward to more releases of different models coming out that has no Hillary hole. And also, look at that. You see that hammer? Oh yeah, lovely checkering for easy purchase. Now, the firing pin is mounted inside the frame. Here's what I noticed of some of the latest releases from Smith & Wesson. Also, check it out. Can you see that down in there? The firing pin is hollow now for some reason. So if I had to rate this thing on stars right now, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It seems a little bit fair, but I'll get to that in a minute because I don't know about the longevity of these hollow firing pins in these beefy, heavy revolvers. And then, of course, you got Tyler's Gun Works. Bear Hug. Oh my goodness. Bear Hug grips on this thing, and it is a beautiful set of grips. This mountain gun was made lighter, and the intent was to have a large frame that could handle the heavy duty loads while also carrying. It is absolutely better to be carrying, especially when you're going through the mountain, over the woods to grandma's house, right? So when you're carrying this thing over the mountain and through the woods, just in case you run into old Snagglepuss or Yogi Berra, you had something that could make, other than a peanut butter jelly sandwich, that could make them take a few steps back. What else do we want to tell you about this thing? Oh yeah, the trigger and the hammer is flash chrome. Now, what that means to me is that when it's flash chrome, the more you fire this thing, the smoother it's going to get. Now, about firing this thing, y'all. The reason it gets a 4 out of 5 for me, this is the second time that I've planned a review with this thing. That's right. It has been back to Smith & Wesson once. It's been back to Smith & Wesson because a couple of times in double action, I pulled the trigger and the hammer would not fall forward. It was stuck. And I had live rounds in this thing at the range, which is why I am doing this review in the reloading layer, because I was not sure. What Smith & Wesson stated was that they replaced the ejector rod and also replaced the ejector star. I didn't really notice anything with the ejector star, that anything was wrong with it, but it would just lock up for no rhyme or reason with any type of ammunition. So I've gotten it back from Smith & Wesson, and as you can see there also, 7 rounds, and the chambers are in between, oh yeah, the cylinder locks. The cylinder locks. This is where the cylinder locks into the bottom of the frame. You see that? It locks into the bottom of the frame. Well, it makes it a little bit more durable, a little bit stronger. Here's the other thing. Also, on the L frame in this particular barrel, don't ask me why. I don't know if it's tolerances or they just made this one stronger. The forcing cone is actually about 15 thousandths thicker on the old mountain gun here than it is on my traditional Smith & Wesson 686. Those are the differences. That's what I really wanted to tell you about this thing. Yes, I'm rushing through it because I can't wait to get out to the range and put some rounds through this thing. Let's go! Range fans, oh yeah, we got this beautiful mountain gun, 7-shot, and we have 4 different rounds that we're gonna put through this beauty today. Make sure it functions, because you already know that I had a little bit of a problem with it. Had to send it back to Smith & Wesson. We're gonna start out with a 38 special wad cutter, and we're shooting from 10 yards away, baby. Oh yeah, dead center. I always got one low for some reason. Ejects pretty smoothly. Now we're gonna bump it up to that old 357 Magnum. Let's go! All right, range fans, the mountain gun, Lipsey's exclusive, loaded with 357 Magnum, 158 grain, clocking in at 1,150 feet per second. Let's put 4 down range, double action, and see what single action feels like in this thing. Oh yeah, definitely 357 mag. Single action. Nice. Oh yeah, and you saw the little flinch there. I know we got 2 more loads of 357 Magnum coming up. Hang in there. Oh yeah, range fans, 300 M&P powder for you reloaders out there. 158 grain. This one kicks it up a notch. 1,250 feet per second. Can the old mountain gun handle it? These grips, ooh, from Tyler Gunworks is something else. Let's see if I can hang on to it. Ooh, you see that flame? Oh yeah. Ooh, 7 rounds of beefy 357 Magnum loaded in that beautiful Starline brass, baby. Starline brass. That's right. Going over to Starline. Check them out. I paid for all of it. They didn't give me nothing. But we got one more load to check out. And like I said, we're coming from 10 yards away. Should we move it back? Should we move it back? You know what? Let's take this 170 grain pill and move it back to 20 yards. Let's go. All right, range fans. Woo, that sun is bright. The camera's done moved on me, and it's moved on you too. 20 yards back, 170 grain pills loaded with H110. Let's go. A few double action, a few single. Hopefully, I don't hit that old camera. Oh, high and right. Low and right. High and left, low and right. Am I going to embarrass myself on camera like this? What a day. Come on, still a lot of fun. Here we go. This 170 grain ain't doing so good for me. Single action. It hit. Single action does it every time. That single action is nice too. Six. And 7. 686 plus. 357 Magnum. Lipsey's exclusive, baby. With them Tyler Gunwork grips. Them bear huggers. They are nice in the hand. But you know what? I can't go home like that. 38 special wad cutter, 20 yards. Let's give it a try. All right, range fans, we got them all loaded up. Again, this time with the old 38 wad cutter, 20 yards away. Boy, let's see if I can dust off these skills. We're going single action though. Oh yeah, come on. Single action on this pistol is nice. Ooh, stacking them now, baby. That one dropped a little low. It's 4. 5. You know what? Last 2 double action? Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. And there you have it. The revolver is safe. And now that I have it back from the mothership, Smith Wesson, this baby is ready to rock and roll, to take over the mountain through the woods to grandma's house, just in case I run into old Snagglepuss or Yogi Bear. Let's go!